Welcome to the snow globe tutorial. We are going to use a 16-ounce acrylic tumbler today, and I have pre-drilled the holes at 5/16 inch drill bit, and we're using the still formula from Two Moms Craft Shack, which we sell right here in the shop. I'm using Hey Ma glitter, as well as some acetate film to provide a shield to put my glitter in, and some painter's tape to tape on this shield. This helps to aid everything going into the tumbler without making a mess. I'm putting the tape onto the acetate film, and then I'm going to gently wrap it around the edge of the tumbler, making sure that one of the holes is in the middle of the acetate film. The reason I want to do that is because that is where I'm going to be putting the glitter. We want to use one hole for dry ingredients and one for wet ingredients. That will eliminate the possibility of anything sticking and clumping when you're filling your tumbler. Now we're taking this still formula and we are going to put it right down into this tumbler. It is a lot thicker than your typical snow globe solution, so you will have to be patient and just kind of wait for it to kind of settle into the bottom of that tumbler. You want to make sure that it settles equally all the way around so that it's level, because we want to make sure that the glitter is not going to get stuck at the bottom. So we want that barrier there. We are now going to go ahead and take our glitter and put it into the back hole against that shield. And you're going to see how easy this goes in. We're just going to gently tap the tumbler and get that glitter to go in. Now I'm going to do this 2 times. And then we are going to see how much more glitter we need. So I'm going to add this glitter in, tap, tap, tap. If you're using a much chunkier glitter, it might be a little bit harder, but I do the 5/16 inch hole to make it easier. Now we're going to add more solution so we can encompass what we just added with more of that still solution. Once you have that in there, you are going to let it level out and continue to add to the tumbler until you feel like it's ready to preview. So you want to kind of get it up to the top. I think I need a little more glitter, so I'm going to go ahead and add that now. And once I have that added, I'm going to shake it up into the tumbler, and then I'm taking off my shield and I'm going to use these little corks that we have in the shop. And these corks are going to allow me to preview what it looks like before I seal it up, but it's also going to allow me to coat all of the glitter within that solution. That way any air bubbles are going to get to the top, because with the still solution, the less air you can leave in the tumbler, the better off it's going to look. Now I'm just kind of shimmying it back and forth, trying to get that glitter mixed in with that solution. And I'm just going to go upside down. The nice thing about these corks is it does provide an airtight seal, so you can really do a rigorous shake with this to try to get this mixed up without the fear of it flying out and getting everywhere and making a mess. So this is a really easy way for you to get this mixed up, because like I said, it is a thicker solution, so we want to make sure that we get all that glitter coated with that solution before we seal this up so that we don't have too many air bubbles. Once you feel like it's pretty well mixed, you're going to tap the side to try to get the air to the top of the tumbler. This is going to give you a good indication on how much more solution you're going to have to top it off with. So I'm going to go ahead and add more solution up to the top. I'm going to do that in both holes. We're not going to be adding any more glitter, so you can use both holes. The reason I have 2 holes is you really want to have one airflow hole. When you're adding something like solution to a tumbler, that air has to have somewhere to go. Otherwise, it's going to try to escape from the hole that you're putting it into. It takes twice as long to fill this way, and it's really hard to do. So now I'm just going to gently tap down on this tumbler, again, trying to get as much air to the top as I can so that I can get this as full as I can before I put my corks in again and shake it up. So let's go ahead and put in our corks. We're going to do it on both sides, and we're going to give this rigorous shakes back and forth until we get that glitter all mixed in with that solution. This is going to help really tell how much more solution we need, because all of that air should be getting to the top of the tumbler by the time we turn it over. Next, we're going to make our plugs. We're using the Resin Rockers plug mold and the Soft Coat UV resin formula. I'm going to do 2 plugs for this, so I'm just going to put a little bit of resin into each one of these little spots, and then I'm going to use my silicone brush to maneuver it around to make sure that it gets all the way around the ridge of the mold. That's what's going to help us create the perfect plug and get the perfect seal on this tumbler. Now we're going to bring over the Magicure UV resin curing lamp. We're going up to 48 watts and we're going to do 120 seconds at that 48 watts. Once it's finished, we're going to turn that mold over and do the other side, repeating at 48 watts for 120 seconds. Once it's complete, you can go ahead and take your plugs out of the mold, and you're going to be able to see that they're very flexible and squishy. That is what's going to give us that airtight seal on the bottom of this tumbler. We're going to use this mold to prop up our tumbler at an angle so that we can get all of the air to one side of the tumbler. Next, we're going to use a little bit of sandpaper. This is 220 grit, and we are going to sand around the hole before we seal it up. This will allow the UV resin to have a really good adhesion. I'm using a little alcohol spray, and we're going to make sure it's nice and clean. And then we're going to go in with our UV resin. This is going to be the original formula hard type. I'm going to make a little circle around the hole with the UV resin. We're going to take our flexible plug, put it right into that hole so it's nice and tight, and then we're going to coat it with UV resin over top of it. We're going to make sure there's UV resin all over the entire ridge of that plug. And then we're going to use our UV resin pocket lamp to cure that plug in place. Now we're going to flip that tumbler over, and we're going to do the exact same thing on the opposite side. We're going to tap, tap, tap. The tapping is what's going to help that air get to the top of that hole, and that's going to allow us to top it off with as much solution as we can. You can see that all the air that's in the top of that portion of the tumbler is going to get to that open area, and that's exactly what we want. We're going to go ahead and do the same thing. We're going to sand down this hole, and then we're going to clean it with some alcohol spray and dry it off really well. We want to make sure that it's nice and clean, nice and dry. Then we're going to take our still solution, and we are going to top off this tumbler as much as we can without it overflowing. We want to make sure that we're moving this tumbler around and moving those air pockets to the open area, because that's how they're going to escape. So that means sometimes you're going to want to rotate the tumbler, you're going to tap the tumbler, anything to get those air bubbles in and allow you to fill it up with the rest of that solution. We're going in with our UV resin, and we're going to go around the hole once again, and then follow the same process. We're going to grab that flexible plug that we just made. We're going to put it right into that hole, and then we're going to use the UV resin to create a nice tight seal all the way around and on top of that plug. So once we have that UV resin on there, now we're going to go ahead and cure this one as well. I will usually cure for about 10 to 15 seconds with the pocket lamp. The pocket lamp is great for instances like this because it's very, very quick. So all you need is about 10 to 15 seconds. Now I'm going to show you how to seal up the bottom and make it all look cohesive. We're going to fill up our mini silicone cup with the UV resin hard type, and we are going to do it about 3/4 of the way. We're going to add Hey Ma, which is the same glitter that we used to fill the tumbler. That way everything matches from top to bottom. You're going to mix this up really, really well, and you're looking for the consistency of a cake batter or something thicker. You don't want it too thick to the point where it looks really, really gummy and sticky. You want it to where it's like a thick liquid. That way we can easily spread it on the bottom of the tumbler, and we have enough coverage to cover up those holes. We want it to all be seamless, and this is the best way to do it. So once you have that all mixed up, you're going to put it into the bottom of the tumbler, and you're going to work it all the way around, making sure that you take it all the way to the edge. That's what's going to give it a really nice tight seal, and it's going to match the tumbler all the way around, and it's going to make a really, really nice base on the bottom of this tumbler. Now let's add some heat to make sure we don't have any air bubbles. And then we're going to cure this slowly with our Magicure lamp. We are going to start at 6 watts and we are going to work our way up to 36 watts. The reason that I like to do it slowly is because I want to make sure that that resin is not going to shrink at all. We want the tightest seal possible. So we're going to allow as much oxygen under that lamp as we can, and about every 10 seconds we're going to increase that wattage until we get it fully cured. Give it a tap, make sure it knocks back, and if it's nice and hard, you'll know that it's time to add your personalization. You can add a vinyl decal, you can sign it, you can do whatever you want at the bottom of this tumbler. I'm choosing to do a vinyl decal, and then I'm going to seal it in with another clear coat of UV resin. It's really important that when you're adding your UV resin, you are pulling it all the way to the edge without going over. This ensures a nice tight seal. There's nothing worse than having a tumbler start leaking once you get it sealed, because you've done all the work to get it right, but it still is not going to be airtight. So we do several barriers and layers to make sure that there's no way these tumblers can leak. Once you get it all spread out, we're going to do the same thing that we did before. We're just going to add a little bit of heat, and then we are going to put it under the Magicure lamp. And again, following the same protocol, we're going to cure it very slowly. You're going to start it with that 6 watts and work your way up to 36 watts until it is fully cured. And now you have a complete snow globe tumbler. Using the still solution, it keeps all of the glitter in place so that it doesn't float at the bottom. It looks so cool when it's done. These are so much fun to make, you guys, and they really don't take long at all. You can shimmy it around, shake it around, but that glitter is not going anywhere. It looks fantastic. Click the link below to purchase all of the materials I used to make this tumbler. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and we'll see you back later with another fun resin art tutorial.